limit, but a pen like a veteran. I enter my element, then I send it for the hell of it. The rhetoric's irrelevant, but still I'll be developing a 7. And if you look at the evidence, cause every time I get up on the mic, I've been ahead of them. So fuck it, I'ma never quit the benefits of eminent. I'm coming for the motherfucking throne, bitch. I go harder than most with this psychosis. Hydro spit, my flow is reversing osmosis. I suppose that these vocals are superhuman like Clark Kent in his bifocal. So die dodos and suck on these Dragon Balls, bitch. I'm Goku.
Thank you, Previously On, for showing us that we should expect an unfet's night rest.
Discount Jeremy hates Previously On segments cliche.
Random shot of spider droid thingy is random, until of course someone in the comments explains to me politely how meaningful it is to the overall story. They might even spin a web of evidence to support their claim.
This is called an establishing shot, where they are establishing the setting of the next scene. In Star Wars specifically, these shots often have droids, aliens, or spaceships in them to add a unique atmosphere to the universe. This is something that I'm sure the Sins writers know, but ignored for the sake of getting a sin out of it.
After the sail barge disaster, there was a power vacuum. Bib Fortuna assumed Jabba's mantle.
This entire scene is helpful. So helpful, in fact, that one would assume the debrief would have happened long before now.
Not necessarily. Boba hasn't been in power for very long, and he had other things to take care of first. This scene is basically him settling down to learn about less immediate information.
Was the names Bib, Mos Espa, Trandoshans, Aqualish, Klatooinians, and Mokshays are thrown out, I realized that we've been too hard on movies like Raya and The Last Dragon. Sure, spelling all their exposition out with pretty visuals was annoying at the time, but I much prefer that to this absolute mind-boggling storm happening in my brain. They have a visual map right there. Make it light up or something. Add a banner with district symbols that match up to the names.
Well, if they did that, you just complain about it, because apparently exposition is a horrible crime even though it's absolutely essential to literally every fucking TV show, movie, and book ever made.
I guess they're not even trying to make it appear that the Rancor pit is below the grates in the floor. You can see the sand directly below the decorative pretend tiles.
That's actually a good sin, so kudos to the writers for noticing it.
I am Lord Appeal. I am a watermonger in the Workers' District.
I'd give all the sins back if we were to discover that Lortha is a long-lost relative of Jimmy James and News Radio is in fact in the Star Wars universe.
He is literally asking for the show to go out of its way to force an unnecessary thing into it, therefore making it worse. And yes, you could argue to me that he was making a joke, but I don't give a shit, cause it sure as hell wasn't funny.
Better fight as good as you talk, Dan.
No.
Right? That's a terrible way to hire someone. Hey, you talk sassy and look badassy, so I'm gonna hire you without knowing anything about your actual skill set.
Okay, you're clearly not thinking about this at all. Boba knows that the gang is capable because he was asked to stop them. If someone has an active problem with them, it probably means that they've been doing a good job.
Wait, how did the water guy even hear Fett from all the way over there in the first place?
Maybe because he doesn't have old grandpa ears? Seriously, how shitty is your hearing?
We now return you to the liquid submersion sleepy bubble chamber of exposition, where dreams are already in progress.
Yet again, Discount Jeremy is pretending that exposition is a bad thing, when in reality, it's not bad at all.
I am so annoyed by this clip that I continue to see and yet do not understand its significance. I'm going to assume they never properly tell me why this moment is so important, and I'll give a few sins now. I'll then forget to give them back later because, well, the sin count doesn't actually matter. Unlike plot points that we've seen many times that clearly do and should have been explained by now.
Jesus Christ, why do you sin shows for having exposition, but then also sin shows for not explaining things? The significance of this scene is meant for the viewer to interpret and figure out without an outright explanation. The showrunners are trusting their audience to not need their hands held. You, however, refuse to think about anything.
Well, that's just depressing.
And why is that a sin? The show created an emotion, which was the goal. But you think that's a mistake?
So, since the Tusken have several speeder bikes now, as seen in the previous episode, why isn't Boba riding one of those instead of this slow-moving bantha?
Boba riding the bantha instead of a speeder is symbolic of his acceptance of the Tusken culture. It's actually a very good detail that completely went over your head.
This miles-long bantha hair hanging off the end of Fett's weaponry. Yes, it's a sin.
No, it's not.
I have business with the Pike Syndicate.
Does Boba know what the guard said to him, or is he just guessing? From the look on Boba's face, I lean the latter, so why is he just walking on in? The guard could have said, "You'll need to drink my piss first."
Skip.
Please come in.
And of course, this one speaks English, even though the guard didn't, because Star Wars reasons.
Okay, this sin is really stupid. The guard was just a regular dude, so it would make sense that he never would have been taught a second language, whereas the Pike leader is, like I just said, a leader, who presumably has to speak with people of many different cultures. Therefore, it makes sense that the leader would know another language.
Sands have belonged to the Tuskens since the oceans dried.
And those same Tuskens, Boba Fetted his ass all across the sands that they owned for days with no water. And just weeks later, Boba's doing their bidding.
The fact that we saw Boba's entire journey with the Tuskens makes this sin even more egregious. We were clearly shown how Boba slowly gained respect for the Tuskens and was gradually accepted into their society, effectively becoming one of them. Why do you completely ignore entire plot points for the sake of a single sin?
Sudden not Chewbacca. And yeah, I know he has a name. It's Ted. What a weird name to give a Wookiee.
I mean, he was trying to make a joke, but it wasn't funny, so here's a sin.
Oh ho ho, another twist and turn, and who has rights to what territory? Oh, do go on while I research when we get back to the far better B plot.
So this video is basically just the Sins writers complaining about Tatooine having a political system? You get why that's dumb, right?
Wouldn't beast 10 times its size.
Wow, that's no way to talk about your exes.
Okay, that was kind of funny, so I'll remove a sin. I'm in a good mood.
This reminds me of a joke. Why didn't the droid cross the road?
Skip.
I mean, there's zero reason they would know this in advance, but I still feel like the show missed an opportunity by not giving Sophie Thatcher the yellow speed bike along with a yellow jacket.
A whole bunch of bullshit.
Mayor's gone. He's working with the Pikes.
I mean, of course he is. Makes perfect sense that the exact same group Boba has been dreaming about is who is teaming up with the mayor to take him down. Not a coincidence at all. That's just how life and dreams work.
I've said this several times in these videos before, but coincidences happen all the time in real life. Besides, this one specifically actually makes sense. Boba is dreaming about the Pikes because of how their spice trade affected the Tuskens, and the Pikes are now currently trying to gain more control over Tatooine in order to continue running their spice. It all fits together, but you just say the word coincidence and expect it to be a sin.